a friend, yes, I have a podcast. Hey, thanks, Scott Stapp. I'm John Hanford, and welcome to I'm Not a Fan Unless I Have a Podcast. This is a fun way to start this off, huh? Nice Creed reference. Pretty underrated band. I don't know why I'm trying to lose listeners in not even 30 seconds into the second episode of this podcast, but I can't help myself. So before I stick my foot in my mouth even further, I'm just going to introduce this next guest, and we'll get right into it. This is Shane. He lives in Southern California, around the LA area. Didn't get too specific. It doesn't matter. This is a relatively anonymous podcast, which I think is, which I kind of like, because that way I get all the recognition. No, I'm fucking around. But what I do like about the anonymity of this is it just shows how like-minded I think we all are. Like, basically, here's the deal. Anybody who sends a request to be on this podcast, it is every intention of mine that we do an episode. Currently, I've got about 20 people waiting in the queue in my DMs, so I'm going to be, getting through these. Actually, I will have gotten through these by the time this podcast is released. But yeah, it's this is a new undertaking. And it's a fun one. I hope you guys liked that first episode. I thoroughly enjoyed talking with Tyler, as you could probably tell. And I had a really good conversation as well with Shane. We are both Southern California guys, and this was a really super laid back podcast. It should come as no surprise that we spent a lot of time talking about sketches. So, without further ado, here's Shane from the greater Los Angeles area.
Hello.
Hey, Shane, what's happening?
Hey, how's it going?
It's all right. Hey, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, man. Seemed like a fun time.
Dude, this is totally a fun time. You're just the second guest to do this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're still feeling this out.
Cool.
It's kind of fun to be in this experimental stages of this, because I think this has a lot of potential. I think one of the coolest things about King Gizzard is just how many different people of all backgrounds are into it. So
Absolutely.
would you mind giving some of your background, how old are you, where you live, what rough area? You don't have to give street address. Don't be too specific.
Definitely. Yeah, so my name's Shane. I am 23. I live in Southern California, near LA. I love music. Yeah.
Nice. So how did you get what was your first introduction to King Gizzard?
It was pretty weird, actually. So I think I found them on a random YouTube account that posts albums, and I'm pretty sure the first thing I heard was Murder of the Universe. Which really confused me. And I don't think I went back, and obviously the name stuck out to me, so I recognized it, and I think I didn't come back to them for at least a year or two until I listened to them again, and then I just kind of came across them on Spotify or something. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that name. So I tried listening to them, and I really didn't get it, and I felt like I feel like I should like this band, but I just don't get it yet. And it took a long time, and it took some days where I would kind of obsess and go through their whole discography, and then it really took multiple listens until I was like, okay, I get it. I feel the personality of the band. And then it was very quickly they became my favorite band. So, and that was not too long ago. I'm kind of a recent. It was maybe a year or two ago to where I was really into them.
Yeah, I mean, because I think Murder of the Universe came out I want to say early spring or late winter 2017. So
yeah,
if you took a year or two off, congrats, on finally seeing the light.
Yeah, I'm very thankful.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I mean, but like I totally get what you're talking about with just they're really something that you got to wrap your head around.
Hmm.
Because like when I first heard them, um, like it was I think I like the first album I listened to was Polygon Wonderland. It was
Oh wow.
released like maybe a week or two before I heard of them.
Hmm.
Like just a friend told me about them, and so I listened to that, and I was just like, okay, this is really bizarre,
Yeah.
but like I found a lot of similarities, in various parts of each song that were, in line with some bands that I really enjoyed,
Oh.
so Polygon Wonderland, obviously Tool comes to mind,
Uh-huh.
but then there are some parts that I thought they were flute, but they're actually keyboard. So I was thinking like, okay, so like a little bit of Tool, Jethro Tull,
Oh yeah.
uh, and then sort of just with the vocal range and just the sheer will of Stu's voice, like I was thinking,
Uh-huh.
okay, also System of a Down.
Oh, I
So
see.
all three bands that I was into, and I was like, all right, so what exactly are these guys doing? And it just it was annoying. It was kind of like it's just one of those things I had to really listen to everything and just try to figure out like are these guys just different for the sake of being different, or are they actually onto
Mm.
something truly prolific and revolutionary?
Yeah.
And
Do they
finally,
really have it, or are they just kind of doing?
yeah, so like immediately I was like, okay, well, what the fuck do these guys look like? you know
Right.
and
Yeah.
and so I was like, okay, yeah, this adds up. Once I pulled them up on YouTube. And yeah, but it wasn't until I saw them live that I actually got it, you know.
Mm.
Um, so have you seen them live before?
Only once, yeah. On this most recent tour last year, I saw them at the Greek in LA,
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was at that show.
which, oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
dude,
a
that
great
show was
show,
great.
but yeah, I mean, seeing, especially after seeing Chunky, I'm jealous of the other venues that were not like stadium seating, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a short guy, so I kind of like the seats.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was thankful because I've got old bones. I don't know. This It was nice to sit down. I have a hard
Yeah,
time
yeah,
standing through
yeah,
standing for that
totally.
long. But I think I would have sucked it up for that kind of show.
I mean, definitely. It's like the first time I saw them, I was front and center
Oh
in New York
wow.
City. And basically it was the whole time I was just fighting off like these angsty teenagers who are just moshing behind me, just like trying to work their way up.
Uh-huh.
Um, so it was so that was a bit of a distraction, but but yeah,
Yeah.
just that vibe is incredible.
Hmm. Yeah, they're I like how their music kind of they're a real like musicians band,
Yeah.
which is something that's really fun. I think people that play music are more inclined to try and look for things that are more interesting and not different for the sake of being different, like you said, but like interesting with a purpose. And that's one thing. The another band that really comes to mind to compare them to for me is Yes, and I know that some of the guys are Yes
Uh-huh.
fans, but
Oh yeah.
I was not. Now, because of King Gizzard, I've kind of made my way into this modern psych and garage kind of scene with other
Hmm.
bands similar that are coming out right now. But before, I was really not hip to a lot of modern music, and so Yes was my favorite band. I mean, they're probably tied with King Giz now, but going into it, Yes was my favorite band, and with them discovering them because I had heard a couple of hits that were on like classic rock radio, but going delving into their albums was a really similar experience to me to discovering King Giz because I would listen to an album and be so confused of like, but confused in like a very exciting way of like, wow, like there's so much here listening to this. Like it's just like an exciting thing of like being able to dig into. And I think a lot of other people who are musicians are drawn to music like that and music that's smart. Like you hear a random, you hear a King Gizzard song and it's like, it's got this catchiness to it, and then you're like, wow, that's in 7/4, or wow, um, like in Countdown. Like I listened to that song
Hmm.
so many times, and it wasn't until I was trying to learn it on bass, looking at the tab, that I realized this. changes time signature every measure, but you can never tell by listening to it because it's just got this groove and like yeah, that kind of thing is so I love the community of this band because it's a lot of like-minded people and but at the same time are so diverse. But I think it's really cool that they're kind of like a musicians band.
Yeah, totally. So I was going to ask, you're a musician as well.
Yes.
Cool. So do you only play bass, or do you
I
like what
started
else
with
do you do?
guitar. Well, when I was really young, I was playing piano in like elementary school and stuff.
Hmm.
I got bored of that. I thought it wasn't cool, which I regret a little bit. I don't think I wasn't playing the right music, but I switched to guitar. I was in like a high school band, and then um, I switched to bass because I think I like a number of years ago. I think I like the um, more simple. It's got like a simple kind of like power to it, I guess, and being like a very each note has feels like it's got more weight to it.
Oh,
I
totally. It's
think
it's it's
then
a discipline for sure.
yeah, and then there's a discipline of being kind of like playing something simple but playing it really really good, and I kind of respect that. Um, but at the same time, being a Yes fan, I don't I like to play complex stuff too, But yeah, so that's my main instrument now. I like the bass.
Nice. I might, if you're down, I might need you to lay down a bass track for for the theme song of this podcast.
Oh, that
It's
would
just,
be
it's
so
just
much fun.
yeah. So all that's going to be is just I'm not a man unless I have a woman. Except it's just me going to be singing the title of the podcast.
It's a great name, by the way. I love it.
Thank you. Uh, I was originally gonna just have it be "I'm on your podcast," but then I was just like, all right,
Uh,
that's way too vague. It's silly, but it's too vague.
it's
And
still good, but yeah.
I came up with like six different podcast titles. Shall we go through them?
Yeah, I would love to hear.
All right, so let's see. The first one I came up with was I'm on your podcast.
Mhm.
Second one was oh, I called John. uh, third one was the one I settled on. I'm not a fan unless I have a podcast. Uh, Pod is calling me back home. Pod is in the rhythm.
Mm,
Paper Mache Dream Podcast. So obviously, like I had to go with one of the like more ridiculous ones,
mhm.
just because that's this is a super informal like fan centric podcast. So it's like
Yeah.
we should totally just go all out.
Yeah, and I
Like,
like how self-aware the title is. Like
oh, yeah,
yeah,
it's so silly.
it's great.
But yeah, man. So I guess like back to the Greek show.
Hmm.
What were you as a first time Giz concert goer? Were you like what were you looking most forward to?
So I feel like at that point I was fully immersed into the band. Like I'd watched tons and tons of live videos. I mean, it was enough time after the album came out to kind of get into it and know what to expect. And I think maybe I had seen clips on the internet of, they had played a lot of shows with that material and that
Uh-huh.
tour already. So I feel like I knew what to expect. I was also really excited for Orb. I'm a big Orb fan.
Hmm.
Or I looked into them because I saw that they were the opening act for the tour, and then I really enjoyed them. Um, they were great too. But I mean, it still just blew me away. Just the musicality of the how just talented they are as a band and how tight they are. And yeah, some standout moments. I mean, everything off of Infest the Rat's Nest was just super impressive. Road Train was one of my favorite
Yeah.
moments of that show. Um, Murder of the Universe. It took hearing it live to really for me to notice how great the music behind that is because I'm always trying to hear what Hanta Yumi is saying because I feel like every time I miss something. But being there and
Yeah.
appreciating the music, that was really impressive. That was another standout moment.
Yeah, and the subtitles help too,
Hmm.
just
Yeah,
with the visuals. But yeah, no, that Murder of the Universe set was just incredible.
yeah,
Um, I mean, because like that totally gave me a new appreciation for it.
definitely.
Just because I mean, the poetry that went into those lyrics is
Yeah,
just like it gives a new definition to like redundancy and
Hmm.
gratuitousness. Like it's so. I mean, it's just insane how long they keep going, just describing the same thing and just like getting further and further into detail. Like it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Um,
I,
and I mean, and what a hell of a concept too. Just
uh-huh.
like likening all of life to just vomit.
Hmm.
Like it's fucking incredible. But also the Polygon Wonderland suite that they
Oh
did
yeah.
with intercell horology or loyalty and horology. Like, oh my god, that uh, like that gave me a whole new appreciation for really what Joey brings to the
Yeah,
band. Because
definitely.
I hadn't realized because they had never played that live before. I didn't realize that those were all his songs.
Yeah,
Um,
me neither.
and it made me fall in love with the whole band like even
Hmm.
more, which I didn't think was possible.
Yeah, I remember before they started that suite, Joey said, "All right, we're gonna play some songs." I think he said something like, "These are pretty hard to play, so bear with us."
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
killed it. They absolutely killed it.
yeah. I love how like self-aware they are. There's like
Hmm.
we'll probably fuck something up, like, but only they'd be able to tell. Um,
Yeah.
which is such an insane part of being a musician. Like I'm sure you know as well. Is like so like I play guitar
Hmm.
and I don't play in a band. I just do I just do solo stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but like I get really hard on myself sometimes. I'm just like, oh shit, I totally fucked this thing
Hmm.
up. But then I'll listen back because I record most of the sets that I play, and I'm just like,
Sounds
oh,
fine.
that yeah. and,
Yeah.
like nobody can tell. It's such a weird trip being on like being on both sides of it,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's even that effect is even more so in the live performance. I mean, any live performance is uh really like moment is gone so quickly, and especially with music, there's a lot going on. It was I went back to playing live music recently for the first time in a long time, and first time playing bass in a band in a show, and I got nervous. Like I'm only playing one note at a time, you know. Like if I play one wrong note, like uh, it's
Yeah.
more, it's a bigger impact. But yeah, it kind of people don't play attention to the bass as much, which is I don't know. It's the
Yeah.
truth, unless you're. I guess in a lot of scenarios, it's not true.
Yeah, I mean, like if you've ever seen Krungbin live,
Oh
you're
yeah.
pretty much like most dudes in the show are mostly going to be watching the bass.
For some reason.
I mean, Laura Lee's
No,
got it,
I love her.
and oh my god, yeah, they're absolutely insane. Did you hear their new track that they just released
I did
yesterday?
not yet. I need to listen
It's
to that.
I mean, it's definitely not their best, but it's enjoyable that they're coming out with new
Hmm.
stuff, and you can also like they're a little more. It seems like they're incorporating some more lyrics into their
Yeah,
music, which is kind of a cool
it
touch.
is.
Um,
I
but
recently I
yeah,
recently watched a rig rundown video of them, and they're great. They have their guitarist. He had like literally three pedal boards. I think the host of that show was just everything he was saying. He was stunned. He's like, "Oh, I use the same strings for like 6 years. I don't have a replacement set on tour with me. I only have one pick." And he's like, "I only have three pedals. I don't use anything else." And he's like, "I only have one guitar." And then Laura was the same way. She's like, "No, I mean, I have a backup bass, yeah, but I never really use it. I don't use any pedals or anything." And yeah, it's just simplicity and letting
yeah.
the music just.
I mean, I think it's yeah, like those guys they've mastered the simplicity of psych
Hmm.
music, which is so weird because usually in order to create
It's
psychedelic
kind of the
effects, you would
opposite,
need
yeah.
like you need a few pedals, and I guess yeah, if he's got three, that adds up.
Yeah,
But
something like that.
uh, yeah, I mean, because like you just need like a good chorus delay and flange, but and I don't know, maybe some other stuff,
Hmm.
but uh, yeah, I mean, it's those guys are so simple, and like their drummer as
Oh
well
yeah,
is just
like a metronome.
I mean that yeah. Also, he sings too,
Oh
so
yeah.
it's like he he seems to be like the guy that keeps the whole thing in check and going.
Mhm.
Um, and it's yeah, like have you seen them live
No.
before? Yeah, it's a crazy time. Uh, but yeah, like I saw them last year in June, and when I was visiting in New York, um, and it was just pouring rain.
Oh, wow.
Like like halfway through the show, just the skies opened up, and it was one of those rainstorms where you could see the rain coming in real time. So like it was just going. It started like from the back of the audience and moved its way right up to just the
Wow.
where the just where the stage was covered. So like you know we saw Laura Lee and I hate how like she's the only uh person whose name I know in the
Yeah.
band, but anyway, so the band's just like looking, just their mouths are agape. They're just like, this is insane.
Uh-huh.
And then this once the rain hits, like this whole new feeling just swept over the
Oh,
whole crowd.
man.
Like it was the most magical thing I've ever
They
experienced in a
that is good
rainstorm.
rain music.
Oh my god, yeah. And they had Kika
Oh,
Gakumori
I
opening
love
up, which
them.
was sick. Yeah, I've seen them about five
I have
times.
not,
Um,
I want to see them pretty bad. I saw their
yeah,
recently
they're
did a that KEXP live video, which was incredible.
oh they did a
Yeah,
new
and
one.
it was a live one,
Oh
like
shit.
with an audience, and yeah,
Oh
it was
sick.
amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I gotta
Yeah.
pull that up. That's cool.
Speaking of female bass players, Los Bichos or Bichos, I don't know if you. They're pretty cool. They're doing something new. I saw they're doing some new music or video or something.
Nice. Yeah, I'm actually not familiar
They
with them
have
at
a
all. What's
KXP video as well that I think got shared around on the Facebook page, but they cover Trapdoor, which is pretty
Oh yeah,
cool.
no, I have seen that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah, I'll have to check them out
yeah,
again.
they're really like South America kind of like cumbia, I don't know, inspired rhythms and yeah, they're groovy.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Hmm.
badass. Yeah, I gotta check that out. That's one thing that I just fucking love about like this group and also just you know just King Gizzard in
Hmm.
general. You know this group referring to the Facebook official fan
Yeah,
page for anybody listening that isn't on it for I don't know how you would have missed it, but it's possible. Uh, but it's just what I just love how many more bands King Gizzard exposes everybody
hmm.
to just inherently from the you know from the other bands that are on the Flightless label
Oh
that they
yeah,
tour
absolutely.
with to just like other bands in general that you know you might find at you know Levitation or Desert Days or one you know one of those psych music
Right.
festivals, um, and yeah, I mean it's really opened my mind to a whole new you know landscape of music
Yeah.
that I just
Yeah,
love.
absolutely. Yeah, Gizzard was my kind of entire gateway into the this whole modern scene, like OCs and all that stuff too. And
Yeah,
yeah, just they're pretty much how I found. I was back when I was younger. I was one of those kids that only listened to classic rock, and you know, I would always say like, "Oh, there's been no good music past like the '80s or something like that." And
yeah,
just to be proved so wrong, like as I you know got into older, got into more stuff and found stuff that I was really excited for. Like I remember being younger and becoming a fan of a band and then being excited for an album to come out for the first time.
uh-huh.
Because when I was like in the middle school and high school and stuff, listening to like Pink Floyd or whatever, there was no concept of like waiting for new music. It was just all there, which is it's
Yeah,
kind of cool in a way because it's you get to explore an entire discography as a whole thing, and I think it really made me appreciate albums more, which Gizz does
oh
amazingly.
my god,
And
yeah,
being able to kind of look at a band's journey from their first album to their last album is one of my favorite things, and seeing how they change. And Giz just like completely throws that out the window. I mean, from 12 Bar Bruised to Eyes Like the Sky already is an insane leap.
Yeah,
And that was
that's
another thing that was weird getting into them. It's like, okay, I would listen to one album maybe twice in a day, and like, okay, I feel like I kind of get the sound of this album, and then go to another one,
Mhm.
and then you have no idea what's going on again, which is what was so exciting
Yep.
about it.
Yeah, and I'm excited for whatever album they release this year because it sounds like they're
Uh-huh.
going to.
Yeah.
But yeah, with so one of the main reasons I decided to start this podcast is pretty much in the wake of all the marathon shows and their tour getting postponed until at least later this year, but
Right. Maybe
who
more.
knows if that actually. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic 2021,
Hmm.
but did you were you planning on going to the Red Rocks shows or the Berkeley
I
show?
think I was gonna go to Berkeley. I didn't have a ticket, but I had a friend with an extra ticket, and there was kind of a
Yeah.
soft-spoken agreement, like I was probably gonna go with him. But I think now I'm I'm gonna try and lock that in because I do not want to miss that.
Yeah, I definitely. So I have tickets for all three marathon
Oh wow.
shows, and yeah, and like I don't make a ton of money by any stretch of the imagination.
Uh-huh.
I live on a super frugal budget and everything, but I was like, all right, I will make the money back.
Yeah.
I was just like, there will be a way that I can do this, and it'll work
Hmm.
itself out, and here we are, and I'm in quarantine. I'm not spending any money on
Oh
gas, so
yeah.
yeah, it is working itself out. I made the money right back.
Yeah. Experiences are worth more than money anyway, so.
Completely. Um, yeah, man. So I guess we'll probably wrap up a little soon, but I guess what are some of the uh, if you had to pick a favorite album, is that even doable for you?
I have thought about this a lot, and I genuinely think my favorite album is the one that I've listened to last. Because every single time, there's
Hmm.
periods, I'm exploring. I like to try and listen to new music I never heard before all the time. So I don't listen to Gizz, like every day. Okay, probably I do listen to them every day, but I'm listening to other stuff too. So every time I come back to an album. Like yesterday, I listened to "Float Along, Fill Your Lungs" for the first time in like
Uh-huh.
maybe a few weeks or a month or two or something like that. And every
Yeah.
time I listen to an album, I have the feeling of, wow, I forgot how good this was. Like, why don't I listen to this one more often? And that happens with every single album. Like Eyes Like the Sky just coming on Spotify. I listened to that 4 or 5 times over the
Hmm.
last few days, and it's just like all that's incredible. Quarters came on Spotify for the US recently too, so I was looking at that all the time, and I was like, oh my God is in the Rhythm is so good. They're like Lonely Still Sheet Flyer. So, but to actually
Yeah.
try and give a real answer, I mean that is the real answer, but I would say one that has a special place in my heart is Sketches of Brunswick East.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that definitely seems to be probably most along the lines of yes.
Yeah, I mean
Of
Polygon Dwanaland, I feel like is their kind of Prague um,
Oh, that's definitely
album, but
Prague, but in terms of like the feel and like the vibe, I would say
yeah, I
Sketches.
think thematically as a whole, all of I mean, the recurring sketches of Brunswick East 1, 2, and 3, I think ties the album
Yep.
together. I think I mean, all of their albums sonically are super cohesive, and but I think that one especially, I think it's one of the best albums ever, and especially as a
Yeah.
bass player, I play along to like almost all the songs on that album. And like, I think since quarantine hit, I've played along to at least half of the album, like, wait, too many times to count. And just everything, the way it's put together and the feeling, it's so I could listen to it anytime.
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to that while I was tripping on mushrooms in my hammock about a
Oh,
month ago.
wow.
It was a really
I
great
had a
day.
similar experience.
Uh,
I had a similar experience.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it's just like, that one line in what was it? Why am I blank? You can be your
Uh-huh.
silhouette. You can't sell your gloom to me. I was just like, damn straight. I'm in quarantine and I'm
Oh,
happy as
man.
fuck. Like it was such that line struck such a chord
Mm.
with me. But Yeah, man, dude, this has been a lot of
Yeah,
fun. Thanks for coming on. And I guess just before I let you go, one more
sure.
question. So you play music. Do you still play in a band?
Yeah, I'm in a pretty new band.
Cool. What kind of stuff do you guys play?
We are definitely I wouldn't say my Giz influence necessarily comes across in the music, but I would like to think that, you know, it's it's kind of next to that. Our guitarist is really big OC's fan, really big Gizzard fan. But we're kind of more of a garage surf punk kind of thing right now. I think my my playing is very influenced by like a lot of funk, psychedelic funk. I really love that stuff too, and soul
Yeah,
music,
yeah.
and kind of bluesy, funky stuff. But yeah, we've got two songs on SoundCloud. We're called we're called Dirt Nasty and the Deepsea Daniels.
Dirt Nasty and the Deepsea Daniels. Cool. That's I mean, look. I mean, we're fans of King Gizzard
Yeah,
and the Lizard
exactly.
Wizard. There is no such thing as a too ridiculous name. Uh, yeah, well, cool. I'll definitely check you guys
Thanks,
out,
man.
and yeah, I hope you guys can. I hope this pandemic can let up a
Yeah,
bit so
we
y'all
are
can
dying to
tour and
play
shit.
together. We played one show so far, and we had another one set up, and it got canceled. So
Yep. Oh man, that sucks. But in due
yeah,
time, man. Hey, well, Shane, thanks for coming on, man, and I'll definitely be seeing you around, staying in touch and
yeah.
shit.
Thanks for setting this up. I had a great time. I can't wait to listen to the other episodes, and yeah, have a good rest of your day. Stay safe.
Thanks, man. You too.
Yeah. All
Take
right.
it easy.
See you later.
Later.